Welcome to the 169th episode, nice, of the So Videogames podcast, where we talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, anything in between. If we're playing it, we'll be talking about it. Today is March 20th. My name is Brad Galloway. I'm the editor of GameCritics.com. I'm half of the show. With me is co-host and the guy who's doing something different with me tonight, Carlos Rodella.
Yeah, we're shaking it up, people.
We are shaking it up. This show, and probably the next couple ones like it, are entirely due to Carlos's thought. If you caught last episode 168, you'll notice that the first 10 minutes were about living under the cloud of the coronavirus, what this means, quarantining at home and all that stuff. And, Carlos had the brilliant idea of saying, people are home, they're bored, they need something to do. Why don't we do micro episodes more often? And I'm like, yeah, Carlos, that's a real good idea.
Hey, thanks, Brad. I came up with it.
It's all you, buddy. It's all you.
No.
So this is the first of our microsodes.
Yeah, I just thought hey, we're home and you're home, and we are not going to wait a week to do a whole episode because let's make a bunch of little ones. And it's kind of a fun, attempt at making shorter episodes. So I thought that's fun too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's just kind of see how it goes. I mean, we're trying to give you guys something to listen to. Maybe changing it up with focusing on one game per show will give it a little bit of a different flavor. Let us know what you think. Do you like these? Do you like the OG show once a week? I mean, do you like both? I don't know. Who knows? Let us know what you think. We'll do these for a couple. We'll see how it goes. And I don't know. I have no promises for the future. I mean, we'll do something.
Yeah.
Whether it's short shows, long shows, who knows? But we'll try it out.
We'll do shows. But I would say the rules of the game for this mini-sode or micro-sode or whatever we're going to call it is one game, one episode.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and in this case, it's actually a demo.
Absolutely, yes. There's actually a lot of demos coming out this week and last week. I feel like I've been downloading nothing but demos, which is weird because they kind of went away for a while. But they're back. They're back in force. I'm sure we're going to be talking about more of them on the next few microsodes. But for now, the subject of today's microsode is Disaster Report 4, the demo, which is currently available on PS4. I believe it's also available on Switch and PC. The full release comes out on April 7th, so not too far in the future. Like, what was that, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or something like that? Before we get into the demo itself, Carlos, do you have any experience with the Disaster Report series?
I sure do. I am a big fan of the series. It is a weird series. It is like an action game that's exploratory, but also really weird characters and lots of different costumes and things you would find in the world. And it's centered around a disaster or disasters. And it's always been one of my favorites. It's just the weirdest game, and it doesn't make any sense, and I love it for that.
Yeah, I'm actually a really big fan, too. I'm glad that you have played some of the older ones. Did you play both of the ones that were released in America, or just the first one?
I was wondering, so we got 1 and 2, and then we didn't get 3?
Well,
or how did it go?
Question marks here, because I remember the original Disaster Report, and actually, I'm going to break the So Videogames rule. I actually did a little bit of research on this.
What?
Just a bit. I figured there was only one game. I should probably look something up.
Leave it to a micro episode to have us change the game.
Oh God, I know. Okay, so just forgive me, folks. I did a little research. The first Disaster Report, which I loved, came out on PS2 in the year 2003. It was followed up by a game called Raw Danger.
Right.
Now, it did not share the same title, but it was the next game in the series. Raw Danger was also on PS2 at 2007. Now, are you aware of any more that came out after that, or was Raw Danger the last one that came out domestically?
I guess that's the only 2 I played, and I did play both, and then Disaster Report 3 exists, and I don't know what that is.
All right, I'm not going to Google it now, but maybe it exists in America, maybe it doesn't. It probably exists in Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were very quirky titles. I loved them. I mean, getting caught in the middle of a natural disaster is something that you don't often come across in video games, especially where it's like the focus of the game. I mean, you'll have an earthquake in a game or something meteor come crashing down. That happens all the time in games, but that's just like a one-off thing as you move on with the quest. Like in these games, it is all about surviving in usually like an earthquake or like a flood. I think Raw Danger, I believe, was set on a man-made island and the whole thing was crashing down. All sorts of crazy stuff happens, and it's weird because it's kind of realistic, but a lot of it is like super like not realistic either.
Yeah. Some of it's like really, really crazy. And I like that you said survival because to me it was kind of one of the first survival games I played, right? Like this had not been a genre in my opinion. And was it PlayStation 2 we're talking about?
Yeah, no, not really. Not back then. Not in the way that we think of it now. I mean, maybe there was something kicking around on PC. I'm not aware of it, but this kind of like surviving, getting water, resting, watching out for natural disasters and stuff. I can't think of anything else on console, certainly, and probably not on PC. If anybody out there knows of a game like this that came out before Disaster Report, I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, it's like the birth of survival games, really. Because, I mean, yeah, you're not playing with a bunch of other people. It's not multiplayer, but you're still conserving things. You're thinking about things. Even in this one, which we'll get to, I mean, even a little bit of getting hurt is like a big deal. And then you have to go find, bandages or whatever. So, yeah. I think the second thing I'll say before we get into Disaster Report 4 is, it doesn't make sense. Like you said, like logically, the setup is cool where you're like, yeah, this is a terrible thing to happen, but how am I going to, basically a puzzle, figure out how to navigate this place, get to the next place, save some people, and save myself. And how do I do that? And that's just really interesting concept. But then, as per the usual for this series, you meet people, and most of the time they're just oblivious to what's going on, or they talk about something else, or they really make you go to a fetch quest that has nothing to do with like the building that's falling over. And it's just like, it's really weird because it takes you out of it, I think, some of the characters in this game.
Yeah, you're totally correct. And I've always been kind of puzzled by that dichotomy, because you'd think that something like this, like, oh my god, we're in Japan and we had an earthquake and we're looking for fresh water and getting survivors out of the rubble. Like, that's all pretty like straightforward and serious, and you would think that's what the game is really focusing on. But just like you said, like, there's always like a lady who's like, oh, I lost my cat's bell. Would you please find it for me? Or, like something crazy happens, like some guy's favorite bicycle is lost, or you got to talk to somebody about how to make up with his girlfriend. And it's weird that they get these really strange, abstract, like JRPG style quests in the middle of wrecked buildings and, just disaster. And we got that same flavor with this demo again.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I'm going to let you start off on this, but just to set it up real quickly. So this is a demo currently available. I played it on PS4. Is that where you played it?
Yep.
It is third person. I don't want to say it's open world, but like you're kind of in these like big areas that are sort of closed off by, gaps in the road or fallen buildings. So you get like these big areas to search around in, and I'm sure the full game will probably let you go between areas, but for the purposes of this demo, you're basically at a big intersection in a city, and you're kind of let loose. So Carlos, you want to kind of give us the intro, like what happens, how does the game start off, just what did you think of the demo?
Yeah, I think in the past games, I remember just kind of getting some cutscenes and then getting really into the area that I need to be in and figure out the puzzle. But this one started differently, at least in my opinion, where, one, there's a character creator, which I never remember that being a thing.
No, that was never a thing before.
Not much of a character creator. We're not talking code vein here or anything. It's like 4 different options. And then you choose like kind of what you want that personality of that character to be. Like, are they just going to care about themselves? Are they going to care about other people? And I don't know what that does. It doesn't really tell you. So that was interesting. And then as soon as you start the game, in these cutscenes, to get you into a place where you're going to deal with disaster, they ask you a lot of interactive fiction, interactive text, choose your own adventure style, and I was not ready for that. I was like, wait, why am I still answering questions? Isn't there a big earthquake coming, and shouldn't I just deal with that? And I think they're setting you up for like maybe stats or things that the character might have. But like in the very beginning, there's an elderly lady, and she's like looking for a seat. And the options are like
on a bus.
On a bus. And then the options are like, give her your seat. Or, which I thought was weird, realize you're getting off the bus soon anyhow, and then give her your seat. I'm like, isn't that the same thing? And then
my favorite option was the one where you cuss her out first, and then you give her the seat. I'm like, what? That's not an option.
I wrote that down. I cursed the elderly lady before offering her my seat. Why would you do that?
Oh my god!
So
that was.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff in the beginning, and some of it gets you moral points, which again have no idea what those are for. And you do that quite a bit until you actually hit the disaster area, and then the gameplay starts. And I thought that was kind of interesting beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't expecting those questions either, and just like you, I was really wondering, like, oh, is I mean, clearly they're trying to like define your personality, but then does that play into how much stamina you have, or does that determine who you're going to meet? Or they're totally opaque about that. They don't give you any clue at all. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out in the main game. But you answer a bunch of questions, you get on the bus, and then an earthquake happens, and then what happens next, Carlos?
Yeah, then you're pretty much in one main area that they've kind of locked off for the demo. I'm sure it's similar in the game, but you can't really do much besides go into a building and kind of talk to people around the streets who are like, reacting to these disasters. But in like every disaster report, whenever you walk anywhere in the map, unusual again for a lot of different games, you can actually deal with all of a sudden a disaster, or like a building will fall down, or a lamppost will fall over, and some of that stuff can hurt you. And in the very beginning,
some of that stuff can kill you.
Some of that stuff can kill you too, yes. But like in the beginning, it's a building fell in the distance. Even I wasn't even near it really. I thought, and the rumble shaked me, and I fell and hit my face.
Yeah,
and it was like life points down. So you have life points, you have a stress meter, and you are navigating this whole little area, talking to people, trying to gain clues, and then do again these weird cutscene missions for people. I thought the weirdest one was in the very beginning. I met a guy who was just staring at his lunch on the floor. Did you see him?
Yeah, like he dropped his lunchbox and spilled it on the ground in front of him.
And he was just depressed. And I was like, wait, buddy, okay, there's burning buildings around and all sorts of mayhem. And what's going on, buddy? How you feeling? And he proceeded to tell me about his life and how he lost his job, and he's been faking it with his family, going to a fake workplace. And I'm like, wow, I do not know if I want to get into this with you, because there's bigger problems.
That's really the thing, is like you meet people in the course of any disaster report game, and like they will always they'll have some kind of weird issue that seems really inappropriate to talk about at that moment. I mean, you would think people would be like, "Oh my God, do you have a bottle of fresh water?" or "Oh, my leg is hurt. Do you have a bandage?" But this guy, just like you said, he's like, "Oh yeah, I got fired and didn't tell my family, so I'm really bummed about it, and I don't know what to do." And you're like, "Okay, that's a real problem, bro. Like I feel ya, but." Like you said, there's chaos, there's flames, like things are falling down. And I mean, it's funny you mentioned the building falling in the distance, because when I was walking around this square, a rumble happened, and a big part of this game is knowing when to brace yourself. There's a button dedicated to bracing yourself.
Bracing myself. I wouldn't have hit my face.
Absolutely. So like if something starts to rumble, you got to hit the brace button and hope that you were in a good place. So the very first time a rumble happened, I'm like, oh, okay, I remember this. I got to brace myself. So I kneel down on the ground so I don't fall over and get hurt. And a lamppost fell over. It crashed right in front of me, like 5 inches in front of my face. And I thought that was a cutscene, right? And I'm like, oh, wow, that was scary. That thing almost got me. And then I walked around the corner, and then another rumble happened, and I'm like, I wasn't sure where it was coming from. I'm like, uh-oh. And then the building I was standing under completely crushed me and killed me, and it was a game over. And I was like, oh, man. So I guess I should have ran instead of braced, but it's kind of tough to tell where that stuff's coming from. So yeah, there's danger from all sides here.
Yeah, I immediately hit right one for run, immediately. And I was like, I need to run everywhere. I'm not going to go slow anywhere. And also real quick, in the very beginning, you meet this group of people who are just all actually worried about what's happening and looking on their phones. And one of the options, besides talk to them about the earthquakes, one of the options in the dialogue was, I mock people and call them stupid for huddling together during an emergency. Why would you do that?
I know, they gave me these really weird options. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. So as we start the demo, I'm walking around the square. There's some random NPCs you can talk to. They all just have one line of dialogue. Nothing really happens. When you get close to somebody who has one of these emo side quests, you get a quick cutscene and you talk to them. But it's not really anything huge. It's the guy, you console him a little bit about his lunch that fell on the ground. There's a teacher who's really insecure about what she's doing, and there's a couple other people, but nothing really comes of it. And I gotta be honest, dude, I was in the square, I was running around in a circle for a long time looking for something to do. Did that happen to you, or did you figure it out pretty quick?
Well, I immediately went into the building and went up all the way to the roof.
The roof? You can go to the roof?
Not the roof, I'm sorry. The top floor. There's many floors.
Yeah.
And I got up there, and there was 2 people just in the dark, sitting in the dark because all the power was out. And the guy was he wanted to talk about jobs or something. He had he'd come from, it said, businessman who came for negotiations. Because everybody in this game, by the way, has a title above their head, and they're all just what they're doing. So it's not like Jane or Frank. It's person who is, this immoral man, One of them was
Immoral,
man.
yeah, Immoral Man is pretty good.
One of them was man fighting the summer heat.
Some of these descriptions are pretty,
I know.
pretty like hilarious.
It's
dude.
like funny and disasters at the same time. It's a weird game. Anyways, he was in there sitting in the dark with this other lady, and his businessman who came for negotiations, and then the power's out, so the lady's like, "There's no negotiations."
And they're still sitting there.
And they were just sitting there in the dark.
Yeah.
But so I went to the building. I found a bunch of things that I thought I might need later. Like, lady was looking for her key in there.
Did you find the key?
I didn't find the key. No.
I didn't find the key either. They kept talking about the key and the lady, key and the lady, key and the lady. And I'm like, okay, I'm searching like crazy, and this area is not that big. I never found the lady or the key.
No, but I did find the 2 schoolgirls for the teacher.
I found those guys also. I found a backpack that I could wear.
Found the backpack. You have the emergency backpack, which is very silvery for some reason. So there's very limited to do in this demo. I would suggest, not to be a quick summary already, but it's weird as F. Oh, we can swear on this podcast. What am I doing?
We can swear in this, yeah.
It's a MICRO-SODE. It's weird as fuck, but it's also really interesting, and you just want to be in this world because you don't know what's going to happen. You know what weird characters are going to meet. And you don't know what weird disaster is going to happen. I like the idea of this game. My main thing that I like about it is that I don't know what's going to happen. Like you said, you know when to brace, kind of, but obviously you died even when you were doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's almost like a Dark Souls thing. I don't want to say that, but there's something about like the immediate danger anywhere that's very interesting, and the weird comical characters. So that combo for me, I still am going to play it, even though it like doesn't make sense. I played the other 2 and really liked them. So, but the end of the demo, did you get to the end of the demo?
Yeah, I mean, I believe so, because you walk around the square for a little bit, you talk to some people that doesn't amount to much, then you do a couple little side quests. I mean, I hesitate to even call them side quests, or just kind of like talking to a person for a second. I found the students, like you said, and then they were like, "Oh, we got to get out of here," and then they take you to a bus that's kind of flipped, or like an overpass or something crashes down, and there's like a little tunnel. And they're like, "Oh, we got to get through." And then you can be like, "Okay, girl A, you can go," or "Teacher, you can go first," or "Rude student, you can go first." Or you can also say, "Never mind, I'm going to go first." And of course, I did the chivalrous thing. I'm like, "I'm going to go first," and put myself in danger, not the students. And as soon as it did that, it was like, "Oh, I'm going to pause here and go back to the main screen." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that." And then it just like made me. Is that where you got to?
Yeah. It was so weird because all the things in the game are like choices, and it says like, "I will do this," right? And then
exactly.
we all, both of you and I saw, and everybody playing it sees, I decided to pause the game and return to the title screen. And I was like, what? No, I did not.
I didn't either. Why are you making me do this? This is so weird. You should just say end of demo, right?
Yeah, end of demo, or like you get through the thing, it blows up, and you can't see the people anymore. And you're like, well, I made it out somehow. And like some sort of ending, and then like showed like, in the distance all the disaster. Like that'd be a cool ending, but like the weirdest fucking ending. I did
really
not
strange.
like that. Yeah,
it just was not clear, because I'm like, did I make a choice that was wrong, or is this the end of the demo? Like, what's just tell me straight out what's going on. And speaking of weird, I really want to caution people, if you did not play a lot of games in the PS1, PS2 era, like we got a lot of games back then that were really super experimental and really Japanese, and it's kind of hard to describe like the way that the logic works, but like game design in Japan is very different from here in America, or very different from Europe. And there are certain things that are just very Japanese in terms of culture, in terms of how they design their games, how they think. And this is like a Japanese game. And like, for example, when you are walking around the town square, there are these little, I don't know, like guardrails or something. They're about the height of like the middle of your shin maybe or something. And any American game would have you jumping over those, no problem. But in a Japanese game, those are impassable barriers, because you can't jump and can't mantle over them or anything. And you're like, what the fuck is this? This is like 1.5 feet tall. Why can't I get over this? But you have to find a way around. So like doing little things like that, you just have to accept that is how the game works. Like there are certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. And if you're okay with the limitations of this, I mean, admittedly kind of old school Japanese design, like you'll be just fine. But if you're the kind of player who wants to have like an open world, like true survival, Far Cry experience or something like that, you're going to be really frustrated playing this game because there are a lot of limits, right?
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, again, if you're familiar with JRPGs, or how about this comparison, Yakuza. Right?
Exactly.
This is a Yakuza game, essentially. It's like off the walls bonkers. You're running around doing things. You're just not fighting people. You're just trying to like not die. So
Yeah.
it's Yakuza and trying to not die. But also, here's another fun comparison: Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, how so?
How now? Not in this one because I haven't played much of it. But I remember one in either Raw Danger or the first one. I was like literally on moving platforms trying to figure out how to jump from one concrete thing that was in the water to another concrete thing, and then pick up something, and then somehow get off to the other side, and then also like bring someone else with me. Like it felt like a task, like a difficult task of what's it called? Being ambidextrous, or no, that's the wrong word. What's the word when you're being nimble and whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like it was more of a play on that. Like, how do I get from here to here? And I would hope that 4 does some of that later on too, because this was just running around like any JRPG would be. Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was less of the actual danger, I think, besides a couple key moments. But it is a demo.
It's interesting because I mean that's a really good call out, because I was waiting for those moments, because I know that's really what the game is about. Like being on top of a crumbling bridge and there's only like one iron girder left and you need to balance your way across it, or like you're in a bus and half the bus is hanging off a ledge or something, and so you're balancing to make sure the bus doesn't fall off, or like you're in a crumbling building and you got to like decide which pieces of the building are not going to fall when you climb on them. There's tons of those moments, but you don't see any of that in the demo. I'm guessing this is literally like the first 10 minutes of the game where like nothing major really happens, and you're just like wandering around. And I bet a lot of people will be kind of put off by that, because it seems a little bit boring, and I got stuck for a while where I just could not figure out what I was supposed to do. I just didn't realize that I could go inside one of the buildings. It didn't seem like a thing I could get into, because I was looking at it from the wrong angle. So I just was wandering, and I would bet a lot of people would be like, well, this is dumb. I'm talking to 4 people and there's nothing else to do. This game sucks. But
I think they would have done better if they just put you later in the game.
In an action scenario.
Yeah, and just say, like, you have to get from A to B and maybe collect the Santa outfit because that's probably in the game at some point.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Oh, yeah, it starts with snow. So, of course it's in the game.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, so anyways, I still liked it. I don't think it was a good showing. I'm already in U2 coming from having played these games. So it just reminded me of the series and a little nostalgia for it. And yeah, I mean, I probably will buy it as soon as it comes out. It depends on how much it is right away, but
I hope they go for a lower price point. It would be kind of disappointing if they went for $60. And I agree with you. I don't think this was a very good showing. I'm excited for this, but really not because of the demo. Just like you said, because I am familiar with the other 2 games, I know what I'm in for, so that's making me excited. But if I had never played this game before and didn't know anything about it and played this demo, I'd be like, this sucks. Like, I would not have gotten into it. So I'm hoping they're going to capture the spirit of the other 2 games. I'm definitely up for it. I would love to play another one of these.
Oh, and in the options menu, it says there's a VR mode. What's up with that?
Which is, I did notice that, and that's fucking weird. I don't know what in the world you would do VR in this game for. So
I don't either. I bet you just mini games or something, but
maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a wait and watch for me because I'd like to play. Yeah, I'd like to play better parts of it.
I'm gonna go for it just on the faith that I have that it'll be kind of like what we got back in the PS2 era, as long as it's not $60. If it's like $40, that'll be like a yes immediately. If it's $60, I will probably wait for a sale. But I am very excited about this, and if nothing else, maybe I'll GameFly it. Who knows? So
yeah, $40 I'm into. Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I just said Death Stranding 4 in my head. Death Stranding 4. Get it now. Forget 2 and 3. Fuck it.
Wow, Kojima's been busy. Just skip over
right
those
to
middle
4
sequels. Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
by the way, that's just like you ever seen the movie House? It was like a horror comedy.
Yeah, with William Catt.
I don't know that answer. Yes.
The guy who was the main character from Greatest American Hero.
Yes, I think he's.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, absolutely. Everybody's listening to this. What fucking shows are these guys talking about?
Well, this is
these old ass dudes.
Yeah. Oh, it shows. Yeah, yeah. The movie is like a horror movie, but it's comedy. Anyways, I think they made House 2, but then they skipped House 3 and they just went right to House 4. And
Did
House
they really?
Yeah, yeah. And I watched it on VHS, and it is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. And we just used to do this show called Negative Rad, where you score horror movies. And it got a negative 468 or something. It is
out of 10, because that's pretty bad.
Well, I'll tell you about Negative Rats like some other time.
Long story.
But House 4 jumped is all I'm trying to say. They skipped.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Kind of like Windows. Windows skipped over a couple numbers with their releases too,
yeah,
didn't they?
Yeah.
Went straight to like Windows 10 or something. Anyway,
End of
I don't-
MICRO-SODE.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't got anything else to say. Anything left on your end there, Carlos?
No, that's it. Check out the demo because it's free. Why not?
Absolutely. So I think that's it for now. Before we sign off, I do want to give a quick shout out to listener Nocturnus, who is in Iran. He sent us a really cool message on Twitter. Said that he listened to 500 hours of the original Game Critics podcast. He discovered it through Google search and just listened to all of it. And he's also listening to So Videogames now. Thank you so much, Nocturnus, for listening. Thank you so much for reaching out also. We were all really touched by your message. I forwarded it to the original crew. They're all still alive and kicking, although we're not really doing the Game Critics podcast anymore. And most of them are really not even active at Game Critics anymore, which is kind of weird. But I did forward your message. Everybody was really touched. We're talking about maybe doing a brief reunion episode. We'll see if that comes together. But anyway, thank you so much for sending us that message and for sharing your story about what life is like in Iran. Sounds pretty fucking grim. So I'm glad that we could be there for you in some small way and give you something to listen to. And thanks for listening to So Video Games also. We're glad that you continued on and we still got you with us. So
yeah.
thanks, Nocturnus.
Thanks so much, and we're happy that we could do anything to help out.
God,
with
I
some
know,
entertainment.
right?
Yeah.
Anything, yeah. So, all right, man, keep on listening. Keep on sending us a message if you like. And thanks to everybody else who's listening. This is the end of the very first MICRO-SODE, and we will be back when we're back. I mean, what, another day or two, maybe?
Yeah, we're going to do these like a fucking ton. Let's do a ton, dude.
Let's do a ton of these. Okay,
Let's
we'll do a
do a
ton of
ton.
these. We'll catch you on the next one. So that's it for now. We'll catch you on the next one.
I'll catch you on the next one. MICRO-SODE out.
MICRO-SODE out!
MICRO-SODE out. I think it's called MICRO-SODE now.